Hey guys, welcome back to our channel Random Learnings. Today we came up with another video upon AWS Global Accelerator, which we used to heard like it's a service which provides you better performance of your application. So we will go through this topic and we will try to understand what's the use case of this service and how we can implement it in our current environment. So let us start. In your screen, you are currently seeing a flow diagram where you are seeing a user who is making a request to a particular DNS, particular domain. Here we have used surajvarma.tech. It's a domain that I am using currently, and it is having some of the A records which are basically pointing to some IPs. So these IPs could be your EC2 instances public IP, or it could be an ALB which are you are using. So it could be any IP, any public IP which is basically browsable, right? And then we are seeing like AWS Global Accelerator. So it is an AWS service that we'll be using it in our this video. And then you are seeing like the VPC. This VPC is in virtual private network in my AWS cloud where I'm using two VMs, though both the VMs are in different availability zones, right? This is in US East 1A and 1B. And in front of these VMs, I have one ALB, which is basically pointing to both the VMs. So the current flow diagram is basically showing a flow of request from user to my endpoint. The endpoint is basically ALB here, which will be distributing the traffic on both the VMs as per the need. Okay, so now let us first understand what is AWS Global Accelerator here. So AWS Global Accelerator is a service in AWS which you create to improve the performance of your application from for local and global users. So how increase the performance? So it is the basic idea behind AWS Global Accelerator is that it redirects your traffic to your from your edge location to VPC over the AWS network. So this network is very robust and it gives you a very low latency while reaching out your request to your endpoint. Like in our case, it is my ALB, right? So how it does that? So Global Accelerator basically uses the AWS global network to route traffic to optimal regional endpoint based on the health, right? And based upon the client location, based upon the policies that you have configured. What is the consequence of that? It basically increases the availability of your application. Now, if you talk about the endpoints of this AWS Global Accelerator, then endpoints here could be your ALB, application load balancer, network load balancer, or Amazon EC2 instances, or any elastic IP address that you are having and that are being associated with any resource in your AWS, right? Here, the trick could be like the endpoint could be in different regions, in multiple regions, or it can be a single regional endpoint, right? In our flow, I'm using one ALB only, so it's in my one of the region US East one. Apart from this, I could have multiple regions as well. Like there would be two endpoints here. One is in US first one in, and one in another region. And then I could have point my global accelerator to point to both the endpoints, both the ALBs in both the regions. So how in the background it is actually working? So whenever a request reaches your global accelerator, so what global accelerator gives you? Global accelerator basically gives you two default static public IP address, another advantage over your dynamic IPs for the ALB. So if you know, like in our application load balancer, the public it gives us public IPs that we can use in our DNS to point their records, right? So ALB used to get their IPs changed. So over the time, ALB IPs could have changed. So in that case, you will again have to make changes in your DNS so as to point to the correct IP address. Now, if we use Global Accelerator here, Global Accelerator gives you the static IP address in front of your ALB, right? So what it does, Global Accelerator gives you two static IP addresses that you can that you can use in your DNS to point to Global Accelerator, and then that Global Accelerator in the backend will be using your ALB endpoint. So in case any of the ALB IP got changed over the time, that would not impact your traffic because that will be automatically managed by Global Accelerator and it will make its changes automatically. So we will not have to be concerned about this ALB IP change here. Another advantage is when a request reaches the static IP address that's been provided by AWS Global Accelerator. So this static IP addresses are using Anycast protocol here. So in your AWS global network, where they have multiple edge locations, suppose your user is based upon in some location, and the closest edge location of AWS global network is XYZ to that user. So as soon as user sends a request to that particular IP address, a user request being sent to particular IP address, that IP address is known to all the edge locations in AWS private network, right? AWS global network. So as soon as request reaches there, so router knows where to route this traffic so that it will be the optimal path to reach the endpoints. So here router are using Anycast protocol, where every router is aware of the IP and they use the optimal path so as the request can be sent to the endpoint. So here in accelerator you get two types of accelerators basically. One is standard accelerator and another is like where you can create your custom routing accelerator, where which basically only supports VPC and subnet endpoints as you can. Okay, so this was the complete the overview of the flow. Now, if you have your current environment where you want to use it, so you can definitely go with it. You can. It is very easy to implement AWS Global Accelerator in your current environment while creating the environment, or after you have created the environment also you can use it. You can set it up in your environment, right? Now there is one implication behind this. Like, suppose in your environment you have the need of caching, so how would you overcome that thing? Like, suppose you are using CloudFront in the front of your DNS, right? So you are using CloudFront service to cache the your website assets so that your response to the request gets more robust and performance gets increased. So in that case, we are not like AWS Global Accelerator does not provide caching here. So what else you can do, like after AWS Global Accelerator and the ALB, after ALB you can have multiple Varnish servers which can store your cache and can serve from there. So in that case, your load will not go to your VMs directly, like the Apache VMs or whatever web server you are using in your VMs, which is basically hosting the application. So that is the one thing, right? Now in our current video I'll be taking you to one of the setup I have, and that setup is basically a very simple setup. As you are seeing in the screen, I have two VMs which are using Apache to serve my website. So it's just a simple page which will be indicating like it is from one VM or VM2, right? And in front of these two VMs I have one ALB setup, which is basically pointing to both the VMs. Okay, so now let's go to AWS console here and let's try to understand how we can actually deploy it in our environment. So as you can see, let me go to my instance. So you can see here, like I have two VMs here, Apache 1 and Apache 2, right? And both the servers are basically giving me hosting a page here, right? Let us try to browse this public IP here of this VM. As you can see, it is saying server one, right? And the same way, if I use my another server and try to browse it, you can see it is a server two, right? So that is fine. Here I've used certificate is saying not secure because the certificate is not mapped with this particular IP. It is mapped to my domain tech. That's why we are seeing it as not secure. Okay. Now the next thing is I have one ALB in front of it. Let me take you through the ALB which I've already provisioned. Right. This is my ALB, and here you can see this is the DNS name of ALB. Let me show you what are the IPs that this DNS gives us. If I NS look up this DNS name, so as you can see, these are the two IPs that are being given by the uh, load balancer. Now these IPs are vulnerable over the time, so these could have changed. So if these are getting changed, you will have to make changes in your DNS as we already discussed, right? So now if I try to browse this IP in my browser, let's see what we get. So these are the public IPs. Yeah. So this ALB is currently pointing to my server 2, VM2 here. Now, if I refresh it, let's see, it is now pointing to 1. So we can say like, okay, ALB is working fine. It is distributing the traffic as expected. Now let us go back. So I have this. setup currently, I mean, already provisioned. Now I want to bring global accelerator in my picture. So here I'm using a single region only, although you can have multiple regions where you can replicate the same ALB and VM setup, and you can use both as a backend to your accelerator. So that will serve you like in that case you can say it is a global accelerator because it will be directing traffic to multiple regions, so it will be globally distributed, right? So how you can implement your global accelerator here or accelerator here? Currently, I have my LB setup here. If I go to integrated services here, we see it like, you can integrate the following AWS services with your load balancer. Now, integration status and details are displayed below. You set up and configure integration through those services. Okay, here we can see global accelerator. Thus, this load balancer is not associated within accelerator. So currently, I don't have any accelerator associated with it. So we will create it right away and we'll see what are the options we get, right? So when I click on this create accelerator here, it is asking for the name. I can use any name here as per my whatever nomenclature you guys use in your environment. So you can put it like that. So I've used Prod Apache ALB accelerator. Let me create it. It doesn't take much time. It will be okay, it is there. That's very quick. As you can see, this is my accelerator name. This is my accelerator state, which is enabled. Here is the ARN. Here is the DNS name. So if you are using Route 53, you can directly use DNS name here to route traffic to, or these are the static public IP addresses that you can use, right? So these by default accelerator gives you two static public static IP addresses. So now we have accelerator in front of your ALB. So now you can point or you can use these static IP addresses in your DNS if you are using any external DNS, right? And these IPs will never change. So in that case, even if your LB IPs are changing, you will not have to be concerned about the request fail or anything because your traffic will go smooth. Accelerator will automatically take care of that ALB IP change here because accelerator uses the DNS name of ALB in the backend to associate with, right? So now let us go to this accelerator and let us see what are the features it has. I mean, what are the options we can configure here and all. You can see the details here. This is the name. This is the provisioning status. It is currently in progress. It is enabled. ARM routing type is standard, although we can have custom as well. This is the DNS name, right? Here we are seeing this listener here. I will show you that what are the listeners. So we basically behind the accelerator listeners are the thing that works to combine both ALB and your accelerator. So listeners in listener we provide the details like we want the request to be routed between both through 443 port or through 8080 port or 80 port, sorry. So that is the way we create the listener. Let me click on this and let us see what are the details being given here. So it is saying 443 port. This listener is being created on 443 ports. Here we see the protocol as TCP. Client affinity, I have not used any, so it is saying none, right? This is the ARN, this is the routing type. Okay, if I want to edit it, you can edit it. You can change the port number, you can change the protocol here. By default, accelerator uses two protocol only, TCP and UDP, right? Client affinity I have not used any, although you can use source IP. So what will happen here if I use source IP? So whenever a request will be coming to a particular source IP, and so that request will be attached to particular instance only. So that request will be served from that instance only. So it will be like kind of session affinity, right? Let me cancel it. So this was like listener configuration. Here you can see endpoint groups. So endpoint groups is basically a logical group that combines your multiple endpoints if you have. Like in our case, we have only single endpoint here, which is my ALB. But in your case, you may have multiple ALBs that are spread across different regions, right? So you can create multiple endpoints here and then combine it into ALB endpoint group. So here we can see this is one of the endpoint group I see here. Let me click on this. Okay, endpoint group US East one, right? Threshold count three. These are the like health check parameters. Health check path undefined. I have not defined it yet. Health check port 443. So what it will do, it will just make a request on port 443 using TCP protocol to check the health of the endpoint, right? And here in the endpoint you can see this is the endpoint of my ALB, right? This is the ALB endpoint, work, which is basically standing behind the accelerator, right? If you want, you can add another endpoint here by clicking add endpoint. Okay, let it show up. Okay, so currently my current direct complete traffic is going to one endpoint only because I have that endpoint only. So it is showing traffic dial 100%. But if you have multiple endpoints, so you can distribute your traffic as percentage else as well. Like 60% of traffic will go to one endpoint and 40% to another endpoint. So this will help you to do the performance testing as well, or the deployment as well. I mean, of blue green deployment as well. So that will help you guys to do the performance testing. If you want to add another endpoint here, you can just click on add endpoint. Here you can choose whatever you have as an endpoint. You have another application load balancer, network load balancer, EC2 instance with public IP or elastic IP address, right? No, we don't need public IP address here actually, because accelerator uses the private IP address to route traffic from your accelerator to the endpoint, right? It does not use the public IP address. So your backends, your instances or application load balancers, those are safe. You will not have to be exposed them using public IP address. Let us let us say I want to create one more endpoint with EC2 instance. I can use any of these, and I can wait here. So wait basically defines the like if suppose I say I have two EC2 instance and I want the routing based upon the weightage. So if I give 128 to one and 50 to another one, so more traffic will go to one instance which is having higher weight, right? This is the kind of threshold this is. Okay, but I don't want any another endpoint to be created here, so I'm just canceling it. Okay, so that was all about it. Now I have my accelerator created already. Let me go to that accelerator. Now these are the IP address. Now let us see whether these IP addresses are actually working or not. So I'm going to browse this IP address. Okay, well, just give me a second. Yeah, okay. So let me browse this. Okay, it is taking me to secure connection now because my certificate is being created for another domain. That's why it is saying it is not private, because it is not trusting it. Okay, you can see it has routed the traffic to server 2. Let me refresh it. Okay, okay, now it has routed the traffic to server 1. So now between your edge network, edge point, and up to the ALB endpoint, right? Your traffic is running on the AWS global network. So that will be your congestion free, that will be robust, and also it will you choose the optimal path only to serve your request, right? So as we can see, request is going smooth. It is working fine. So we have set up our accelerator here. It is working completely fine. Now there here are some fun facts about accelerator. So what happens when you stop your accelerator, when you disable your accelerator? So what happens to the IP addresses? So these IP addresses remain assigned to your accelerator for as long as it exists, even if you disable the accelerator. There are two things basically, guys, for accelerator. One thing is you can disable it. Another thing is you can delete it. So if you're not using it, you can disable it or delete it. If you want to delete it, but first thing you will have to disable it, and then you can only delete, right? Now suppose I have disabled my accelerator. So what will happen to my IP address? So those will be there as long as it will be existing. Means as long as I've not deleted my accelerator, it will be there. It will not change. That's a good thing about it. So in future, I can again enable it and can use it, right? Now another fun fact here is, so global accelerator assigns each accelerator default domain name. Now suppose here we have used only one accelerator, although you can have multiple accelerators. So you will be your global accelerator will be assigned a default DNS name for this, right? That will be point to the static IP address that global accelerator assigned to you, and that you choose from your own IP address. So you can also bring your own IP address if you want to associate your own IP address to your accelerator. If you don't want like public static public IP address which AWS is giving you, you can use the custom routing path as well, custom accelerator as well, where you will bring your own IP and will associate it with it, right? Okay, guys. So that was all about this video. I hope you'll like it. I hope it will be helpful for you in your future. Like if you have any kind of requests, so you can set it up and you can use it smoothly. Okay. So I will say goodbye now. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.